Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/AITA. In today's episode, AITA for not watching kids at a cookout and leaving them unsupervised. AITA for not giving my mom my old medication. AITA for not wanting to be around kids. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. AITA for not watching kids at a cookout and leaving them unsupervised. I, 27M, was at a backyard cookout with some friends and co-workers. So the ages were late 20s to early 40s. It was a family-friendly event, so people brought their kids. They were playing in the yard while most of the adults hung out on the backyard deck. And like always, the parents saw other adults in the area and decided to just walk away and go inside. I don't know why this is a thing a lot of parents tend to do. Parents, why do you just walk away at outings and expect other people to watch your kids? I don't get it. I could see if it is your immediate family, but even then I would warn someone that I was not going to be watching for the safety of my kids. It was near the end of the night, so some people were gone. It was also getting dark and colder, so people were inside. The kids were still running around the playing outside. I decided to go home. I went inside and said goodbye to the host. Then I got in my car out front and was on my phone for a minute, and someone angrily walked up and asked me why I left the backyard. They said I was back there and they were counting on me to watch the kids. Note that this was never said to me. They just went inside and said nothing. I was on the deck, and at no point in the night was I ever paying attention to the kids. Nothing dangerous happened to the kids. The parent just saw me walking to my car and freaked out. I told her it's not my job to watch your kids, but I probably would have stuck around if I was asked. I was just sitting on the deck drinking beer and minding my own business. I had already been going back and forth from outside to socialize the whole night like everyone else. Not sure why I was the one singled out. There were times when another person happened to be outside and I was inside. Did they assume we were taking shifts? I don't get the mentality of parents, but maybe I'm the asshole here. Also want to note that the backyard is not fenced off. She brought that up a lot and I just retorted with even more reason to stay with your kids. The backyard was one of those open ones that opens into the forest. Before this gets out of hand, I did not drive drunk. I had a single drink and was not drunk or even somewhat tipsy. Edit. I don't think it's clear, so I will clarify. I had no knowledge of being on kid duty. The backyard is large and open and lead into the forest. I was on the small deck by the house. At no point in the night was I watching or listening to for kids. The whole night I was periodically going inside and outside freely. Never considered kids because I assumed the responsible parents were keeping an eye out. Dude, you definitely NTA. You are not a babysitter. You should not be held in any position to watch their kids. Outside of babysitting, specifically, I just don't understand this scenario at all. I'm mad that you're not doing the thing I didn't ask or imply in any other way that I wanted you to do. NTA. That parent has some nerve. You are not psychic. They are out of line. This is exactly it. I do not have a crystal ball that will tell me what you need. If only there was a way to communicate that. /S. Oh wait. If you tell me I might say no. NTA op. This happens all the time with my nieces and nephews. As soon as I arrive, my siblings just leave and go outside or whatever, and if I do the same, it's always, why weren't you watching the kids? Never asked to mind you, and also not my kids. The first time they did this in front of my best friend, she was shocked. I think she always assumed I was exaggerating. But literally less than a minute after we arrived, we were left with 7 kids and nothing said. It's so frustrating. OP, these kids weren't even your relatives. The parents are entitled and you're NTA. NTA. It took me a while to figure out none of the kids were even yours, because their reaction makes no sense at all. LOL. Just assuming someone else is watching your kids is pretty ridiculous. It sounds like he didn't know them either, so he doesn't know their kids. Why would he watch kids he doesn't even know nor who they belong to? It sounds to me like that person assumed they were entitled to Opie's time, cause many people expect you to help with their kids when you don't have any, and they assume you probably have all the free time in the world and no debts. Intake next time, say something like, "Oh, sorry. You must have me confused with the babysitter. I'm OP, I work in whatever department you work in. We've actually met quite a few times." NTA, as a parent, I never assume anyone is watching my child unless I specifically ask them. Also, it's not fair to dump your kid on someone without at least checking in, even with parent friends, but especially with my single or childless friends. It's not their job unless they want to do it, then I'm all too happy to get a little downtime. Finally, if the parent had time to walk out and yell at you for their failure as a parent, then obviously their kid was fine, so they're the jerk here, not you. Haha, right? So they left their kids alone again to go yell at OP instead of checking in their kids. Makes sense. NTA. Entitled parents being entitled parents, nothing else to see here. Ugh, I hate this behavior from parents. That's how kids drown in pools at family gatherings with adults standing right there. Everyone assumes someone else is watching. Lazy entitled parenting. You are not the magical babysitting fairy OP. And you are 100% NTA. NTA. Ma'am, if you expect me to babysit your children, not only do you need to ask me first, you also need to compensate me for my time. Have a lovely evening. AITA for not giving my mom my old medication? NSFW due to mentions of drugs. I am a recovering addict. I used to have Xanax prescribed to me for panic attacks, but it was discontinued. I kept an old bottle in the cupboard just in case. I know. On Saturday, my parents came over. I told them how I was doing in my recovery and that I was going to properly dispose of my old Xanax at the pharmacy or police department. For the sake of brevity, she asked me for the drugs and I said no. My no was not respected. When I said no, she said, "Well, why? I'm not an addict." She then proceeded to rub my nose in the fact that I stole drugs from her when I was in active addiction, and basically said I owed her. I was so upset that I brought up a time she medicated me without a doctor's consent or prescription when I was a child. She then gaslit me, saying I was making it up and that never happened. I kicked her out of my house. I'm so upset. I'm in very early recovery and trying my hardest to get well. We haven't spoken since I kicked her out and my heart hurts. I just wanted my mom to be proud of me, but instead she tried to guilt me for my old medication. So Reddit, AITA? I disposed of the medicine the next day at the police department. I'm 7 days sober from my drug of choice today. Edit. Just wanted to add that I do attend NA meetings daily and have a sponsor, for those concerned about my recovery. And thank you again. I'm crying reading all of these supportive responses. NTA. If she needs the meds, let her get them prescribed. Well done on your 7 days. The fact that mom got hostile and accusatory when told no gives the lie to her "I'm not an addict" line. That's problematic drug-seeking behavior, no two ways about it. NTA. Meds are prescribed for you and for you only. And especially Xanax isn't candy you can just hand out. The fact that you stole meds from her in the past has nothing to do with that. In fact, reconsider how often you see your mother if she's continuously going to bring up your past to get something from you. Not to mention that her bringing up the past hinders his recovery. He needs support, not someone being mean and resentful. This is even more relevant in this case. An addict can develop a tolerance to certain drugs like benzodiazepines or opioids. With long-term use, they tend to need more of the drug to get the same effect. A doctor would know this and prescribe appropriately. What feels like a small dose to opiate might be enough to harm someone else. There's a reason these drugs are only available with a prescription. NTA. You acted responsibly, and I'm not sure how old you are, but your mother seems to treat you like a child still. Good luck on your recovery. NTA. Congratulations. Addiction is hard and I commend you for choosing sober living today. It sounds like your mom is an enabler. It might be hard for you to maintain a close relationship knowing that she is also abusing medications that are not prescribed to her. I don't know if you are going to meetings/counseling, but if you were, maybe invite your mom along for the experience, and maybe a heart-to-heart about the best ways she can support your sobriety. Best of luck to you. NTA, pretty sure it is illegal to give someone else prescribed drugs. Yup, it makes you a supplier of a protected substance. NTA. You are doing the right thing. She was probably going to use them. NTA. It's inappropriate for your mother, or anyone, to ask for prescription medication from you. As you evolve in your recovery, you'll find it gets less challenging to navigate conflict. This conversation devolved into score-keeping, which never feels good. The response to her request could have been, I'm trying to develop habits that will keep me in recovery. Exchanging prescription pills is something I used to do, but no longer. Turning these into the police is a step I need to take to be healthier. Please respect that. NTA. But I'm wondering, is the drug you previously took from her also Xanax? If so, she can get a prescription filled herself. If not, that's very concerning. I had taken Valium and oxycodone from her in the past. Neither of which she has an ongoing prescription for. She kept the medications after dental/medical procedures. So she cannot get those refilled. I still feel horrible for my past actions and have actually asked her forgiveness before. I suppose she still has resentments about the whole situation, which is fair. Info: why did she ask you for the drugs? To take them for her own personal consumption, or because she doesn't want a daughter in early recovery to have a highly addictive substance in her apartment? Thank you for your question. She told me she wanted them for herself, in case she needed them. Firstly, congratulations on the first 7 days. The beginning of recovery is so hard. I'm not your mom, but I'm a mom. I want you to know how proud I am of you. I'm sorry your mom isn't as supportive as she should be, but you have done the right thing. AITA for not wanting to be around kids? My 26M sister, 23F, has 4 kids in her care, 5M, 5M, 11F, and 2M. All of them are her foster children. She got a job promotion recently and now has longer work hours. So after they get out of preschool/elementary school, I've been picking them up. I get along with them fine, but I don't like kids in general. My family all tends to ask me to look after kids when they can't because I get to pick my own work hours. About a week ago, my sister wanted me to take her children to school because she had to work early and I refused. I didn't have much of a reason to, but I wanted to relax and not have to be around them. She got very upset and started crying because I wouldn't do her job as a guardian. I told her that she chose to foster those kids and she knew what she was getting into. My parents are also upset about my choice to stop valeting her kids around and have called me selfish. AITA? Info needed. 'Cause you left out some very important details in the post-op. She says she's paying me by letting me live in her house, but I help with rent so it doesn't count. Wait, so you didn't mention you live in her home? How much in rent are you paying? It obviously does count to her for some reason. Why? Do you pay for the gas, electric, cable, grocery, etc.? Or just chip in a rent to her? And bigger question is, why are you living with her? And for how long? Did she have any of those or previous foster kids prior to you moving in? And what rules or expectations did she have for you? Best thing to do is to leave her house and get your own place. That way you're completely free and independent from her. Edit YTA. It's not that important. I live with her because I don't make much money and she offered. It's very short time anyways. I pay what I can. She should help me out because she has enough money to. I am paying for my necessities and I help her with rent. My sister makes a ridiculous amount of money for her age. She can afford to help me out. I think it's unfair to say I'm making no money. I do make money, just not enough to afford my own place. Do you have something against people who need extra help with living situations? So he's actually freeloading off his sister Reddit. He's not much help money-wise. Living in her home, and can't be bothered to help her out either. YTA. She decided to take in those children. If she couldn't handle it herself, she shouldn't have done it. She should be grateful you helped as much as you did. Edit, I was right there with you. But you decided to leave out the fact that you're living with her. The least you can do is help her by carting the kids around. Also, what kind of moves into a house with 4 kids when they don't even really like kids? That's like hating rain and moving to Colombia, country with the most rainfall per year in the world. She also took in OP. He's living in her home and she's helping him as well. I was right there with you also, OP, until you exposed the truth. You're a freeloading and lazy YTA. Those are my favorite AITA posts, where being the A has absolutely nothing to do with the question in the title. No, you're not the A for not wanting to be around children. I get that, 100%. However, you don't get to mooch of your sister, knowing she cares for a bunch of children, and then complain about being asked to actually do her a favor. You sound entitled and selfish, and that's why YTA. Question: would OP be the AH if they didn't want to be around the elderly or disabled people? Or is it just children we are allowed to say we don't want to be around? YTA. Interesting how you conveniently left out that you are living in her house pretty much rent-free. Because of that alone, you should help her when asked. Or grow up and move out. YTA, she's helping you by letting you stay with her for very cheap. The least you could do is help with pick up and drop off. After info, YTA. If you want to help her out, then great. But if you say no, it doesn't make you selfish. Your help shouldn't be expected. No one is entitled to your time. Yes, he is selfish. He makes no money and lives in her home. He feels because she makes a large salary she absolutely should take care of him. Meanwhile, he can't be bothered to help her out. It's not that important. I live with her because I don't make much money and she offered. It's very short time anyways. I am paying for my necessities and I help her with rent. My sister makes a ridiculous amount of money for her age. She can afford to help me out. YTA. You're living at your sister's place almost for free. Just with chipping in what you can. And your reason why it doesn't matter is because your sister has enough money. Well, in this case, you have enough time to help her out so she can earn the money that she needs for her household. Including you. YTA for your very judgment attitude. She is doing her job as guardian. A. Guardians have help all the time. B. She's working hard to support 4 kids on what sounds like one income. How about you pay her more than a fourth of rent to bum in her place or move out and stop taking up room in her house? Wow. Your comments are something else. Normally I'm all about boundaries when it comes to other people's kids, but you're something else. You are so entitled and rude. I hope your sister sees this post and kicks you out because you do not deserve her generosity. Why do you think you're entitled to anything she has? You're a grown adult. Get a better paying job and get out. YTA. OP seems to have had nearly everyone in the first half. But he seems to be past the threshold of entitled freeloader that he honestly can't see himself for what he is. He just laid it all out as if it were completely reasonable. He couldn't even lie to faceless, anonymous, internet people when the tide started to turn. Incredible. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.